This week, we're talking lawsuits and we're talking skier responsibility on the Ski Rex Media Podcast. How we doing, everybody? Tim from Ski Rex Media once again with the short intro. How'd you like that short intro, which also becomes the teaser that I put on Instagram? Follow Ski Rex Media on Instagram down in the description. I am Tim from Ski Rex Media, as I said. Thank you for joining me again this week. For those who have joined me before, if you're new to the program, thank you for checking it out and thank you for listening and or watching. This week we're going to talk about something I've brought up before. It was sometime, I can't remember exactly when it was. I could look it up, but I'll just wait for till I finish this, and then I'll put it up on the card that kind of slides across the top of the screen here, and you'll see that. But it was this. We're talking about another wrongful death lawsuit. A skier and a snowboard wrongful death lawsuit. This one came out. The news came out today. It is Monday. I know your earliest you're seeing this is Wednesday, but it is Monday, March 2nd right now. This wrongful death lawsuit comes out of Mount Bachelor in Oregon. You know, PNW, hashtag PNW. This two separate incidents that happened on the same day in 2018, about 2 years ago. It was in March of 2018. Let's see, two people, Alfonso Braun, age 24, Nicole Panette Raymond, age 19. Both of their families are filing a joint lawsuit for the wrongful death because both of those people were caught in tree wells. They got caught in the tree well and suffocated. Now, if you don't know what a tree well is, you know, you got your tree, you got the snow that builds up around it, you fall in. It's kind of like, I guess you could kind of call it like quicksand, or what we think of quicksand, or, you know, part of the aftermath. I know people don't just die from suffocation in avalanches, but, you know, you get under the snow, you get stuck, you can't breathe, there's no air in there, it's airtight, and, you know, you suffocate and you could die or do die. The lawsuit against Powder Corp, owner of Mount Bachelor, they're saying that the mountain either knew or should have known about the danger. They are 100% correct in that. However, I still think it's a bogus lawsuit, especially since it's $30 million. Now, like I said, in the past video, I have said, you know, let's watch the bogus lawsuits. Let's watch the lawsuits that really shouldn't be happening, because we're trying to get over on something that should have been that is our own fault. Maybe any one of us could have this issue. In the past episode, I talked about the Blue Mountain verdict. Kid got a couple $1 million for running into a snowmaking equipment. Says he didn't see it. Another kid in Massachusetts, I can't remember which mountain offhand, got a big payout from that mountain because of a chairlift incident. And I don't remember exactly what happened to that, but you can check out the episode, hashtag shameless plug. This one I also feel is bogus, because now the basis of the lawsuit, as far as I've read and as far as I can tell, is that the mountain should have known about the danger and should have made sure everyone else knew about the danger. And I don't know about you, and maybe I'm taking this too far. I don't know. You can tell me. You can tell me in the comments. You can tell me in other ways on social media. Go ahead and look in the description. But we know how dangerous our sport can be, and then how much more dangerous our sport could be depending on what we do in it. Obviously, park riders are taking a few more risks than, say, groomer riders, you know. Pretty simple stuff, you know, if you're jumping and flipping and, you know, rail slides and things like this, of course, it's a lot different than just going up and down the mountain. Excuse me. But these people who went into the trees and fell into tree wells, which it is tragic, don't get me wrong. Like, my heart goes out to the families involved. This sucks. 24 years old, 19 years old. These were young people, you know. They had a whole life ahead of them, possibly, and, you know, they died because of an accident. That's what it is an accident. But is the mountain at fault? Probably not. And that's why this lawsuit is bogus. And I don't know if the judge they will get will see that or not. Or how slick the lawyer they have, these two families have. But, you know, we all know the dangers. We do. And you could say, well, maybe they were new to tree skiing or being, in a backcountry scenario, because they weren't backcountry, they were inbounds as far as I know. But if there's trees around, it's probably a glade like run or a glade run or something, a tree run at any rate. And they went into the tree well and couldn't get out. And, you could say maybe they didn't know that was coming. And I was like, maybe they didn't, but if you're gonna do something new, you should research it. That is kind of on you or me if I were to do something like this. I know about tree wells. I've never dealt with one. I've never seen the aftermath of one. I've never been part of a rescue where someone's been in a tree well, but I know about them. I'm sure there's warning signs. I mean, I see warnings every year about tree well issues, and I don't even have to deal with them. I don't know if we have. I mean, we do have the issue here, but like I said, I've never dealt with it personally. I've never known anybody to deal with a tree well issue personally. It really comes down to who's responsible for what, and we as skiers and snowboarders should probably make sure we're taking responsibility for our action or inaction, as the case may be. And you got to think, man. I have to believe. And maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't mind being wrong. I really don't. But I have to believe that there, at some place like Mount Bachelor, there is signage that says there could be tree wells. There is something somewhere displayed that a person can see that it's a big enough issue where people should know. And like, am I wrong here? Like, I don't even feel like I'm getting my point across correctly because it seems just so obvious to me. Like, how can these people sue for $30 million, mind you? Like, which is just ridiculous. $30 million. Like, yes, I know your children or brothers or sister or whatever died, and I feel bad for you. But to ask for $30 million, to me, on a personal note, feels disrespectful to the two people because you're kind of using them for a big payout, and that's fucked up. But, $30 million bucks. Because, I feel like an asshole. I really do, because it almost feels like I'm diminishing what these people meant to their families. I have family. Some I get along with, some I don't. But in any case, for me to say, my family died doing something they knew was dangerous on your mountain, you owe me 30 million bucks? Like, that just sounds like such bullshit to me. And I do take it personally, because I love skiing, as you all well know. I've been part of the industry on and off for many years, and I know that these big, large, frivolous lawsuits, because these mountains have to pay them out, even if their insurance might cover that, which I doubt, they have to pay it out, and they have to make that money back somewhere, and that's going to be directly paid for by other consumers, and then on a person who should have known that was going to happen. I don't deal with it, and I know it's a danger. I have to believe in a place where the mountain does know it's a danger. They hire professionals, ski patrollers, who are out there to make sure people get saved from things like this. And, so they have to know that it is a possibility, and because of that, and yeah, it may be cold-blooded to just put up signage, warning signs to avoid liability, but at least those warning signs are there, and I have to believe they are there. And again, I've never been to Mount Bachelor. I haven't. I've never skied in Oregon. I've never been to Oregon. PNW, I've only been to Washington and then only to Seattle. Well, I've been up to Snoqualmie, but it was in August, so there was no skiing there. I don't know. Maybe I'm the dick here, because I feel in a lot of things, including skiing, but in a lot of the world, people always look for a way to live without consequence, to live without responsibility, and forget that they could die or get seriously hurt or die. And then those around them are like, well, that can't possibly be their fault. It's always someone else's fault. Dude, it is rarely someone else's fault, depending upon what we're talking about here. And I feel confident in saying, though, in a sport like skiing or snowboarding, it's going to be rarely someone else's fault. Again, there will be negligence on part of the mountain at some point for something. Absolutely. If some fool literally does park a snow gun in the middle of a trail and doesn't tell anybody, and it's around a bend and you can't see it coming, that's the fault of the person who parked it there. However, If your run is, if it's a bright sunshiny day and your run is completely, straight and you completely visible, and that snow gun is sitting there, if you hit it, that's on you. So I mean, it does come down to different situations, demand different responses. We know that. But I think that people try to get rid of responsibility, try not to take responsibility often. And it happens more with young people, I think, I'm sure when I was younger, I might have, I know I've jumped up and said, you motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. When I should probably have taken a breath and said, wait a minute. And that's probably on me. And I'm always willing to accept my own responsibility and my own consequences. Like, absolutely. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you learn. Like, that's one of the ways to learn. So, in the case of a $30 million lawsuit, it just feels bogus to me because I can't, I'm not trying to put a price tag on human life. At the same time, to try and get that big of a payout and say that the mountain didn't tell anybody that this could happen, I think that's ridiculous because I bet you most people who are on that mountain know it's going to happen. I'm sure the mountain has warned everybody. I mean, the mountain warns you anyway. That's why they do ski reports and snow reports and put up ropes and have tons of signs. Like, I mean, there might have been a time, I can't remember, that terrain parks didn't have a sign, and I really don't think you need one. Like, if you're going into a terrain park and going off a jump, you should know you could get hurt or worse. But now there's always a sign. Always a sign. So I have to imagine somewhere in Mount Bachelor there is a sign that says, all right, if you go in the trees, there are... Actually, now that I think about it, I think that's part of the responsibility code, the skier responsibility code, and that little liability, I guess what you could call a waiver that's printed on the back of day tickets, or that's in somewhere in the fine print. And again, you could argue fine print all you want, but it is there and we can read it. And before you sign whatever, that gets you your RFID card, your other printed pass, your day ticket, whatever it is, it says tons of natural hazards, and tree wells are part of that. Avalanches are part of that. And they do have staff, ski patrol, professionals who are there to help not only rescue you if something does happen, but try to mitigate that damage. Avalanche mitigation, So tree wells, it's not something you can really do unless you get, a ton of people out there with shovels just digging out around trees so that puffed up snow that's around there, you fall into the well and you get stuck there. I don't know, that might be the only way to get rid of it, is to have just like 100 people going around digging up trees. And that's just not going to happen because it is rare anyway. It is a rarity. You don't hear about a lot of I mean, let's be honest, for as dangerous as skiing is, and we do hear about the deaths a lot, I report on deaths, and other ski related media and snowboard related media, they report on deaths too, even more than I do. I tried to get away from a little bit because at one point I was reporting a death every day. But a death every day versus the how many hundreds of thousands of people who ski every day, it is rare. It's not often that someone gets killed while skiing, which is a good thing, which is a very good thing. In my time, I worked for Mount Snow for 5 years. I think there was 2 or 3 deaths, maybe, if even that. Like, I could be wrong about that completely. I'm pretty sure there was 1. I do remember one specifically, I saw a serious injury once actually, but that story's for another time. No, I think this time a wrongful death lawsuit is 100% garbage. They were in the trees. The tree well is a well-known, hazard. Like I said, I know about it. I'm sure everybody knows about it in some way. It's a natural hazard. And even the ski mountain says on the ticket, there are natural hazards. And we're not responsible if you hit one. You have to be aware that this stuff can happen. And I mean, some of us as skiers and snowboarders, we do get cocky. And believe me, I've been there. I've done that myself. I have done that myself. And I could have gotten hurt or worse. And I hope that my family would not have sued for millions if I was in a place I shouldn't have been. And again, negligence is different. I keep coming back to it, I know. But I want to keep coming back to it because I don't want you to think that, again, I'm a heartless prick who's just defending the corporations. I'm not. There are times, where things happen. And, a chairlift cable snaps. A chairlift line snaps, all the chairs fall to the ground, boom, everybody gets hurt. Yeah, the mountain could probably be seen as if, you could see how it could be the mountain's fault in that case. They do the lift checks. I mean, you can't catch all of it, but that is something you could get negligence, perhaps, or again, if a piece of equipment, if someone just puts a snow gun down in a blind corner in the middle of a trail and someone rails that snow gun, then, rams that snow gun. If someone rails it and uses it as a rail and actually successfully tricks off it, you're probably going to get sued because you might damage it and you don't want to pay for a snow gun. That's expensive. But if you come around a blind corner and there's it's like, what it's like? There are people who, and we've all seen it. If you've ever been near a park, a terrain park, you've seen somebody sitting below the jump. You've seen it and wonder, what are they doing there? Because you should know better. Like, why are you in the landing area of a jump or the runoff area of a jump? Or, whatever the case may be. Or if you're stopped in the middle of a trail on a blind corner. We've all seen it. People stopping in the middle of the trail. And it's like, dude, you got to get to the side if you have to stop. You just have to. It's safer for you and for everybody coming down. But if that person gets hit and tries to say it's someone else's fault, they hit me, it's like you were on a blind corner, you were under the jump. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? I just recorded the Q&A for this week, or the Monday Q&A, and I didn't feel like I made a lot of sense in that one either, but I'm going to go with it because I'm real and I want to come correct with you all. I want to be real life, No fake radio voices, none of that stuff. Real. And I don't mind being wrong either. So I don't know about this one. I think the lawsuit's bogus. Wrongful death for two people who fell in a tree well, saying that they didn't know that could happen. There's warnings that say it can happen, whether it be online, whether it be in the lodge, whether it be on the back of the ticket. Those warnings are there. I've seen glade runs. I imagine that they have it on signs at the trees. Because if you go into a glade run around here anyway, at the mountains I've been to, there's always signs that say double diamond, experts only, natural conditions, ungroomed. Like maybe they are only doing it to escape liability, but there's a point in it that it could be dangerous and you can be killed. So I don't know. I think this is garbage, and I think we should all watch out for the lawsuits. And that's my other real point here, is that if we keep suing mountains, if people keep suing mountains and getting these payouts, then mountains are going to have to recoup that cost somewhere. And where do you think they're going to recoup it? They're going to recoup it on you and me and whomever else. And it's not just day tickets, kids, because day ticket, that's going away. Passes, the mega pass, that's where we're going to be soon. Everybody has a pass. But they're going to get it in concession and food and, who knows what other fees and taxes and whatever else there may be. Because they're going to have to. Could they? Now you could get into the idea of, if they just let their profit margin drop by 3 or 4%, doesn't that take care of it? Why raise prices? Yes, obviously that is true. But do they want to drop those 3, 4, 5, 6% profit and pay for that? Or do they want to keep their profit margin high and raise prices? That might be true too. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I do know we don't sue the mountain unless there's actual negligence and they don't do right by you. The mountain will probably settle with you. If you get fucked up because of something they did, they don't want there to be a problem. And they will throw money at it to get rid of the problem. But if they don't, then call your lawyer. I understand that. But like I said, tree wells saying there's no warning, there's got to be a warning. And if it's not at the mountain, we know about tree wells. Our sport is inherently dangerous. You may not know all the dangers specifically, but you should be ready to die. As dramatic as that sounds, and I don't want to be over dramatic. I'm really trying not to be over dramatic, but we could get hurt, we could die, and skiing isn't the only sport that happens in either. Hiking, mountain biking, basketball. I used to play basketball. In playing basketball, here's a good example. One time playing basketball, gym class, I could get up on the rim. Like I could jump up and hang off the rim. So I did that. 2 portable hoops, the ones that slide around, that you can move around the gym. One was parked underneath one. I did it once. Someone said, hey, do that again. I did it a second time. got up, pulled the rim, let go, came down on the base of the other one, and broke my foot. Should I have sued the school? Some would say, well, they did park it there. That's being negligent. No, me fooling around because I could get up above the rim, that was being stupid. That was my fault. My fault for not paying attention. So there you go. Obviously I didn't die, so it is a little different, but there's a difference. What is negligence and what isn't? And you have to take responsibility for your own stuff like you do. Let's be honest. I've been hurt more. Well, probably not more. I've broken my foot twice playing basketball, and I've sprained both wrists 8 or 9 times each playing basketball. Basketball can be dangerous. What other sports? Frisbee. I love ultimate frisbee. You ever take a frisbee in the forehead? It doesn't feel good, especially if the person whipping it throwing it can really whip that thing and take you down, man. Am I going to sue them because I was playing the sport? No. If I lost an eye playing that sport. Now, and again, equipment makes a big difference in this too, and that's why you see a lot of the times were they wearing a helmet and were they not, because that then adds to the liability case. Were they being safe versus were they not? But there's other safety equipment out there. Going back to Frisbee, does Brody Smith, when he played pro, did he, shout out to Brody Smith, Frisbee player, pro, did he wear safety goggles when he played Ultimate Pro? Because you could absolutely lose an eye, not just from a Frisbee, but from a hand. Did his wife, who was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, wear safety equipment while she was a cheerleader? She could have broken something. All the sports are dangerous. All of them. I'll even say that playing chess is dangerous. Maybe the choking hazard more for a little kid, but it could be dangerous. It's all dangerous, and we know that. We have to take responsibility for the times that we make it dangerous. I broke my wrist on a pair of inline skates. Did I sue Rollerblade? No, I didn't, because I couldn't, because that was on me. The broken foot, the sprained wrists, the bad back. I told the story. There's another story I used a podcast for to talk about my time with Karma when I hurt my back at Camelback. I didn't sue Camelback because I knew at night the snow was going to be different. I knew my edges were bad, and boom, I was in physical therapy for a month, getting MRIs and x-rays, thinking, I had an orthopedic surgeon checking to make sure my back wasn't broken. That's how hard I hit. So that's all I'm saying here. Rest in peace. And it is tragic that the 2 young people died in the tree wells. However, is the mountain at fault for that? I don't think so. I don't agree with that. I don't believe they can be held accountable for in a wrongful death lawsuit, because it is something that is known and we all know it. And if they didn't know it, that kind of sucks. And, if they had, maybe it would have changed their minds. Maybe they hadn't. Maybe we don't even know if they knew it or not. That's the thing. We can't ask the dead questions. Some people think they can, but I don't think they can. So who knows? Maybe I'm the asshole here. That's always possible, and I don't want you to think I'm an asshole. I just want you to think of me as your beloved Z-list podcast host and media outlet and writer and all that good stuff that you think of Ski Rex Media. So before I dig my hole any deeper into you thinking I'm a prick, let's get the hell out of here for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I kind of got into this one a little bit, so I kind of liked it. I haven't even listened back to it yet, obviously. I'm still recording it as you see this, and obviously, and I kind of dug on this one a little bit. So if you dug on it too, subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Buzzsprout, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. I know I got to get the Apple Podcast thing done, and I'm working on that. Subscribe wherever you are. That way I can see that. Use the like button if you have one available to you, depending on which app and service you are using. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it with your friends. Pick up some merch, because merch has been going out like mad, and you can see the Ski Rex Media phenomenon growing. Actually, so far this week, it's been at Mount Tremblant in Quebec and Bear Creek in Pennsylvania. Shout out to Rob and Alyssa from Twitter for doing that. And then, go into the description here, and look up Patreon, all the social medias, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff. Follow me where you can, subscribe where you're able to. skirexmedia.com, you can subscribe there too, and that's where you can find all of the links to everything I do. skirexmedia.com, and you can subscribe there as well, and that's written content every day. All right? Again, thank you for joining me. I am Tim from Ski-Rex Media, hoping to see you out there when I can. Spring is right around the corner, and it feels like it's spring out there today. So enjoy it while you can, because the Northeast, at least the East season, is coming to a close rather quickly, I think, this year. It's kind of disappointing. I hate to say it, and I hope I'm not jinxing it. Believe me, I want to see a big-ass hit of snow. If spring is on the 19th, I want there to be 4 feet on the 18th. That's what I want. What do you say, everybody? Do you agree? I don't know, but I'll check you later. Have a good week. It is Wednesday. If you're watching this on the day it goes up. If not, have a good day, week, weekend, or whenever you are watching. Thanks, everybody.